Happy Monday, everybody. Jonathan Pulley here with West Coast Weather. Today is December 18th, and we're going to talk about this pair of upper level lows that is bringing precipitation and rain showers to much of the West Coast, especially California. This main one up here is going to start merging with this weakening upper level low off the coast of California. This will bring continued precipitation and isolated thunderstorm chances through this week for much of California, then shifting to mostly southern California as we go through the Thursday and Friday time period. Some locally very heavy rainfall is possible for some of the coastal areas and especially the coastal mountain ranges, with 2 to 4 inches possible for much of the coastline of all of California. So very rainy period coming up. There's also going to be some precipitation over the next day or so for parts of Washington and Oregon, Southwest BC, but not much other than maybe a quarter to half an inch is expected with that. Then we're going to take a quick look at the extended forecast. It looks like that jet stream is going to strengthen and extend over the Pacific Ocean as we go through this weekend and into the Christmas timeframe. This is going to bring more storm chances as we go through the Christmas and later timeframe for much of the West Coast. Atmospheric river and wind potential is there depending on how close these storms actually get to the coastlines, but storms will form. Just where they are going to go is the question. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Now we're looking at the general ridge and trough positions on the European model. Here's Alaska, British Columbia, Washington, Oregon, California. Here's Hawaii down here. Here's Russia and Japan over here. You can see the cutoff low that's spinning off the coast of California. This is weakening now, but then you can see this other piece of energy starting to move out of the northwest. This will combine with the dying upper level low off the coast of California and bring continued precipitation chances for lots of California as we go through later this week. And if we play this out, you can see that weaken, and then you can see the stronger piece of energy starting to move in and generate this rather strong cutoff low over the coast of California. Ridging builds in over the Pacific Northwest, though, as we go through the middle of the week. This will keep all the precipitation down for parts of California. But then you can see this other trough starts moving in towards Washington and Oregon and British Columbia as we go through Friday. This will bring a low into British Columbia or Washington or Oregon, bringing precipitation chances and some locally gusty winds along the coastline and parts of the northwest interior of Washington. And if we play this out, that quickly moves out. A transient ridge moves in, but then you can see the powerful Gulf of Alaska and North Pacific troughing starting to move in. This is associated with that cold air that's moving off Russia and Siberia. This is creating a powerful jet stream over the Pacific Ocean, which is going to bring a storm train into the West Coast. And you can see these storm systems all moving in, but they kind of die off as they get towards the coastline. There's still a chance that they move towards the coastline closer, but precipitation will be the main threat with these. There is an isolated chance of some wind potential as we go through the Christmas and later time frame, but we'll just continue to look at this as we go. Now, this is looking at the jet stream over 30,000 feet in the atmosphere. You can see it strengthening over the West Pacific Ocean and then eventually extend over the entire Pacific Ocean towards the West Coast as we go towards the Christmas time frame, bringing those storm systems as we go through the extended forecast. Now we're looking at the mean sea level pressure on the European model. You can see our dying cutoff low right now off the California coastline right now. That's going to move northward and die and merge with that upper level low that's moving out of the Gulf of Alaska. This is going to bring that trough and low pressure over California as we go through Wednesday and Thursday and into Friday, before that finally kicks out later Friday into Saturday for Southern California. Then you can see this low pressure system that's been modeled on most of the models as we go through Friday. This is going to bring maybe some gusty winds to parts of the coastline in the northwest interior of Washington, also precipitation chances. That quickly moves out and a ridge builds over the areas we go through next weekend. But then you can see the storm systems coming in with atmospheric river potential and some wind potential as well. But we'll continue to look at this as we go, as the models are still disagreeing and changing quite a bit on the scenarios. Here's the 6-hour precipitation on the European model. If we play this out, you can see the general showery and wet weather over much of the West Coast, especially Northern California. You can see that there's some precipitation moving all the way in the British Columbia as well. This kind of dies off as we go through Tuesday night into Wednesday morning for much of the northern locations, but California will continue with almost sort of a weak atmospheric river moving down much of the coastline as we go through Wednesday into Thursday. And that precipitation finally cuts out and starts moving out of the California area later on Friday into early Saturday. But then you can see that next system moving into the Pacific Northwest, bringing precipitation, some breezy winds to the area as we go through Friday into Saturday before the showers mostly die off as we go through Saturday afternoon and into the evening. We dry out a bit for much of the West Coast before on later next week on Christmas, we look to start bringing some systems potentially back into the area. We'll continue to watch that as we go. And then here's the total precipitation in inches on the national blend of models. And we just let this play out. You can see by the end of the week, we get a lot of precipitation over California. And you can see much of the coast getting 2 to 4 inches of rain, some locally higher amounts possible for some of the coastal mountain ranges. You can see the lower amounts as we go through into the valley locations in the east of the Sierra Nevadas. That's where the rain shadowing happens because of those tall mountains. But some locally heavy rainfall is possible for some of the California coastline as we go through later this week. You can see that maybe 1 to 2 inches for much of the mountain ranges for Oregon and Washington, Southwest BC. And you can see some heavier amounts as we go up towards western and central British Columbia. But that's going to be associated with some of this precipitation from the upper level as it goes south over California. Then you can see if we play this through a little longer, you can start seeing the system starting to move through after the Christmas time frame, but we'll continue to watch that. Here's the NAM3 cam zooming in on California. This is the composite reflectivity, or what the radar may look like according to this model. You can see the scattered showers and isolated thunderstorms as we go through later today. You can see this kind of continues through Tuesday before the second wave of showers and the possible thunderstorms as we go through later on Tuesday into Wednesday and continuing all the way into Thursday. This will continue all the way through Friday and maybe early on Saturday for parts of Southern California. But you can see some locally heavy downpours in this. So definitely some localized flooding issues could be possible. And this is looking at the surface-based CAPE or convective available potential energies. This is basically showing us where there is some energy in the atmosphere for thunderstorm potential. You can see that there's some of it around the Bay Area and Central Valleys as we go through today and into Tuesday, but most of it kind of starts forming later on Tuesday through Wednesday. You can see it really pick up later on Wednesday into early on Thursday for parts of the Los Angeles coastline and other parts of Central and Southern California. So definitely some thunderstorm threats out there. And now looking at the ensemble members from the European model, here's all 50 ensemble members showing the total precipitation in inches. This is for Sacramento International Airport, and you can see the mean and the control are in agreement at about 2 inches of precipitation. So quite a bit of rain coming through Thursday into Friday for parts of the northern and central California. San Francisco, the same idea, maybe 2 to 3 inches for a lot of the Bay Area as we go through later this week. Los Angeles definitely getting the bullseye on, at least according to the European model, with the mean and control in really good agreement, showing about 4 inches of precipitation by early on Saturday morning and late on Friday. So definitely a lot of heavy precipitation coming to parts of Southern California as we go through later this week. Here's the rainfall forecast from the National Weather Service of Sacramento, California. Periods of moderate to heavy rain, especially today through Tuesday. Wet and slick roadways, longer than normal commutes, and roadway ponding and minor nuisance flooding of poor drainage areas. So just be careful if you're out there on the roads. The roads can get pretty slick, especially if there hasn't been a lot of rainfall lately, and there hasn't been a ton of rainfall in the last few weeks for California. So they'll bring up some of that oil from the roadways, and that can create some slick conditions out there. So be careful if you're out there. Here, and there's also some gusty wind potential as we go through Monday and Tuesday for parts of the coastline of Northwest California and parts of the Sacramento Valley area. You can see south winds 15 to 25 miles per hour with gusts 35 to 45 miles per hour. Loose objects may blow around, difficult driving conditions, especially for high profile vehicles. Down tree branches and weakened trees may fall. Power outages will also be possible as well, so just be careful when out there driving. Here's also the thunderstorm outlook from the National Weather Service of Sacramento, California. Thunderstorm outlook from Monday through Wednesday. The most likely time frame for thunderstorms is going to be the afternoon and evenings when that convective available potential energy is higher, usually because of any sunshine that brings up heating from the surface. Impacts will be lightning, small hail, brief heavy rain, and gusty winds, so just keep your eyes on the sky for those dark clouds. Here's the rainfall forecast from the National Weather Service of San Diego, California. You can see generally 2 to 3 inches for much of the coastline in Los Angeles, and 1 to 2 inches for San Diego Metro, and some of the coastal mountains may start approaching 3 to 4 inches. And then you can see it gets a little bit a little drier as you go towards some of the inner valley locations in the east of the coastal mountains with that rain shadowing. So maybe a half inch to an inch for some of those valley locations out there. And now let's take a look at the 6 to 10 day temperature outlook. This is for December 24th through the 28th. You can see above average for much of the west coast, with maybe a little bit below average for Southern California as that upper level low hangs out down there for a bit longer. 6 to 10 day precipitation outlook above average for much of the west coast as the storm systems look to start moving in through the Christmas and later time frame. Now, if we look at the 8 to 14 day temperature outlook, this is for December 26th through January 1st. You can see above average temperatures continue for much of the west coast, likely as that warm Pacific air comes in with those Pacific storm systems and that powerful jet stream. And then if we scroll down to the precipitation outlook, 8 to 14 day precipitation outlook, and this is also for December 26th through the 1st of January. You can see the bullseye on California and much of the west coast with above average precipitation potential, but we'll continue to look at this as we go, as we look to get some pretty active weather as we go through later December and into early January potentially. Well, that's it for this video. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you enjoyed this video and found it informative, just hit that like button, subscribe buttons down below this video. Also hit that notification bell down below if you don't want to miss out on any new videos I post. I'll likely do another video sometime later this week, but until then, take care, God bless, and have a wonderful rest of your week.